Hey, friends. Welcome to Katy Needs a Podcast, the official Katy Needs a Life podcast. We're coming at you after all watching the documentary
Class Action Park.
Well, I figured that today we would talk about amusement parks and stuff. But before we get into that, why don't we all introduce ourselves? My name is Katy. I don't like roller coasters.
My name is Reggie, and I passed out on a roller coaster.
My name is David, and I enjoy roller coasters.
My name is Jake, and I didn't come here for your amusement. I came here to park.
Well, I mean, okay, so we all grew up probably experiencing an amusement park at some point. Like when I was a kid, I didn't like roller coasters, but when I was an adult and I started to be exposed to all of the incidents at amusement parks, I super didn't like them. But yeah, Class Action Park was crazy. What did you all think?
I want to go there.
I very don't.
For those of you who haven't seen Class Action Park yet, essentially there was this amusement park in New Jersey that was open from the mid-70s through the mid-90s somehow. It was a popular amusement park for a second, but then a Six Flags opened the next town over, and that was crazy popular, and the demand for Action Park started to diminish. Action Park itself was like a summertime attraction for a ski resort. It had these three parts. It started with the Alpine Slide, which was this big luge thing. Did you guys, does that even look fun to you?
Fuck yeah,
no.
It does. Fuck yeah,
Fuck
it does.
no.
I want to go the fuck on that thing.
Before they even started describing all the terrible things that happened on that ride, they'd show just the clip of a guy on a little, basically little fucking skateboard rolling down this concrete thing. And it was horrifying to watch. I was like, there's no fucking way I would do that.
I mean, I've done that on a skateboard on a road. You know, at least that thing doesn't have cars.
Beyond the Alpine Slide thing, there was Motor World and Water World. And Motor World was where they had all the motorized things like the cars and the go-karts or whatever. And then the boats. And then Water World was where they had all the water slides.
Starring Kevin Costner.
There was lighter regulations at the time, governmentally wise. So there were a lot of things that were able to kind of not be up to par. And a lot of these rides were managed by teenagers and designed by the owner himself.
Not to mention most of the teenagers who were just there in the park were wasted. Because the bar was fairly indiscriminate.
Yeah, they were making their dreams come true. Does anyone want to add anything at this point before I just take over the whole Action Park story? Because it's so interesting.
No.
It looked dope.
It does. That's the thing is especially if I were a teenager, that place looks fucking amazing. But I am no longer a teenager. And I think back on some of the shit I did just as a human, not in an amusement park, and I wonder how I didn't break more bones. So I could not fucking imagine if I had a place like that.
I definitely would not go on. I would not go on the cannonball slide.
I don't want to go on the one where the person was gutted by a loose bolt.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, yeah.
Yeah.
That
That's
Was
was
the
one that
cannonball
got me.
slide the loopy one?
Yep.
That people just
Fuck
banged around.
that. People's fucking teeth got stuck in it and carved up other motherfuckers. First of all,
Yeah, the
that's so
teeth carved.
fucking metal, but that sucks.
It had an escape hatch at the bottom because so many people got stuck. I mean,
Oh
it just
my God.
and the owner designed it on a cocktail napkin and was make it happen.
I just want to do this.
Have any of you guys seen Action Point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I watched that the next day because I watched it the same
We
night.
watched it right after, yeah.
Yeah. I watched the documentary, and then last night, a couple hours later, I watched the Johnny Knoxville movie, which I was very taken with just because there was the through line of a potential Clash concert, which I never got as a viewer. Very upset about that still. But
So was she.
Yeah, right. I am Johnny Knoxville's teenage daughter. But I really like the soundtrack to that movie.
Yeah, I actually really liked that movie because at first it wasn't like it was inspired by Action Point. So like he was actually like a pretty good dude in this. Like nobody died.
The difference between the two movies to watch one right after the other, just based on the main character, is pretty interesting.
Yeah, the main character, like the movie opens with him like drunk in a tree fighting a bear. The main character at Actual Action Park was like an ex Wall Street guy who got like banned from Wall Street for doing inside trading or something.
Yeah, he seemed like a genuine chud.
Yeah, dude, he sucked.
Rest in peace.
David didn't want to watch Action Point at first because it's a Johnny Knoxville movie, which immediately translates to Jackass. And I don't know if you watched anything about that movie leading up to it, but like he did all of his own stunts, as you can guess. And there was one stunt, I can't remember which stunt it was, but he like broke the bone around his eye and his eye didn't stay in place. And they had to like cease filming for like 6
Yeah, it
weeks or
just kept popping
something.
out.
Yeah, he's like sneezed and it popped out.
Oh!
So you're saying he's a pug?
Johnny Knoxville is a pug, and I am his teenage daughter. I remember watching that scene though with the barn, and it just looked like it didn't go right. There was clearly a section that he was supposed to go through, and he very undershot it.
You saw how like Chris from like Wild Boys and Jackass like ran into the barn. That was like very authentic, like, oh fuck, Johnny, you know?
Yeah.
He got really injured during that movie, you know, and they didn't really show how graphic it got because it was really bad. But like that scene where he gets hit with the fire hose, that like really fucked him up. And that might have been what like broke his eye thing because he landed on his face.
There was also that thing where he went on the concrete luge that looked like it, when he flew off it, went very badly.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I remember that fucked him up. And then there was one where he like jumped onto that roof or something from. He landed on like a tin roof.
Yeah, that was like the opening scene that fucked him up because he
Yeah.
landed wrong. It like broke his ankle or something.
Hmm.
That man has done so much stupid shit for my dumbass enjoyment. And I appreciate it, but at this point, I don't want to see him hurt himself anymore.
You can stop. It's okay.
Johnny Knoxville is willing to get hurt to recreate these things so that the kids don't actually have to get hurt anymore. At Action Park, legitimately, like 6 people died and they don't know how many injuries there were because they weren't reporting injuries unless the kids had to go to the hospital. The United States has this crazy history of amusement parks with like these huge chains like Cedar Fair and Six Flags and stuff, and they all have their histories and their wild incidents and strange stories. I mean, okay, so I was looking this up today, and it looks like amusement parks have been around forever. They were kind of a mixture between like the idea of a fair, like a traveling amusement type of thing, a pleasure garden, and like a group picnic type of setting.
Real quick, do you guys want to start a secondary band called Pleasure Garden?
Yeah.
Tight.
Doesn't that kind of sound like one of those weird Roman sex things?
Oh, 100%.
Oh,
Yeah,
Something
so-
I don't want to. Something I don't want to cross with a picnic and make into a park somewhere.
Yeah. So like I looked into pleasure gardens because like there were other types of gardens that were just kind of like these more formal spaces, but pleasure gardens were around in like ancient Rome. They were hangout places for people that were more based around entertainment and hanging out in community and stuff. So like it was open to the public instead of it being privatized. And
So it was like a community center, but it was called a pleasure garden.
well, there was like a garden there
Welcome to
too.
the pleasure garden. Over here we have darts and backgammon.
The Pleasure Dome.
So this Bartholomew Fair was around from 1133 to like 1855. It was literally around for like, what, 700 years? It was an amusement park of sorts where it was like a giant picnic area where there was like tons of entertainment. Eventually it became like sideshows and concerts and prized fights and stuff. And like, it's like taboo, but they would have like freak shows. And it closed in 1855 because it was like forcing debauchery or something.
I mean, I'd expect as much from the pleasure gardens.
Guys want to go to the Pleasure Dome, get a corn dog?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, brother.
Maybe we can ride on the go-karts. So in the 1860s, there was a rise in mechanical industry, and you started to see more things like carousels, and then you started to see like roller coasters and Ferris wheels at the turn of the century. And you started to see amusement parks popping up in places like Coney Island, and there was another one in England that were really popular. And we even had one here in Kalamazoo, a little amusement park. It was off of Oakland Drive now in Woods Lake. And it had a roller coaster. And this amusement park closed in 1925, which I don't know if you are in the same boat as me, but I can't think of anything scarier than a roller coaster pre-1925.
It's like the Alpine slide, but you strapped a bunch of carts together and called it good.
I mean, even later, there was a at the 1939 World's Fair, and this got later moved to Coney Island, and it's still there. It's just not operational, but they had this ride called the parachute jump. It was like, I think like 3 or 4 stories up or something, and you would go up to the top of this platform, and you would just jump off with a parachute. And nothing, no safety, anything, you just jump off with a sack and a bag. And I think a lot of people got hurt.
I want to do that.
Yeah, it was presented by Lifesavers. Lifesavers parachute jump.
Parachute jump is more like
Parachute
it.
jump, yes.
The amusement park here in Kalamazoo was kind of like a big to-do. Like a lot of people knew about it, and it would draw crowds of like 1,000 people. And they said that it really kind of started to slow down when people came back from World War I and started to invest in cars. And then they could like leave town and do whatever the fuck they wanted.
They could make the world their amusement park.
Yeah, they didn't have to settle for Kalamazoo's dumbass bandstand. They could go to like Detroit.
Fucking Tony Hawk Pro Model T.
They said that the reason that the park closed was because of a hot air balloon accident that killed one of the featured performers. Anyway, the Ferris wheel remains are actually still at the bottom of the lake. What they often do is just shove the like old metal parts from amusement parks into the nearby water source. I don't really get it. But the roller coaster was dismantled and pieces of it were used to construct like 6 houses, and the actual foundation of the house or foundation of the roller coaster was used as the foundation of a house nearby. And the guy who was living in it apparently lived in it for 6 years and had no idea. So says the old Kalamazoo Gazette that I read. So
Side note, there's they do something similar with like railroad cars. Like when you're closer to the ocean, they basically just like put that shit on a boat and then just drop that shit off a boat.
What the fuck?
But like, I guess it actually, with the railroad cars, they actually use them to make like artificial reefs and stuff for like some of the sea life, and I thought that was kind of neat.
okay, did they intend for that to happen, or did that just kind of happen?
I think that just
and now...
kind of. I think that just kind of happened. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we're actually doing a good thing.
It's like, oh, okay. Well, I guess dumping this shit off the boat is fine.
So that's like a brief history of like amusement parks. Theme parks started to catch on in like the 1940s. This is a funny story, okay? There is this place in Indiana called Santa Claus. It was originally called Santa Town, and when they tried to open a post office, they couldn't because there was already a Santa Town in Indiana. So they had to change the name, and they went with Santa Claus.
Indiana is not big enough for 2 Santa towns.
I would have just named it Santaton.
Yeah, well, you weren't there, so...
Pull the W's off all the signs. Boom. Santaton.
So this guy in the 40s decided to profit off of what the town was all about, and he started a park called Santa Claus Town or something. And it was a theme park. It was like the first big theme park, and it's still around today, but it's changed to Holiday World, which is... like it pays homage to many of the United States holidays. So there's like a 4th of July park and stuff.
What about Christmas?
I think we'd have to go there. I think we should go there.
Do they have? Can we play there?
Probably
Nobody?
not
You don't
this
know?
year, but
Okay.
I don't
What
know.
if we play Halloween
I was
song?
going to say we should do a secondary version of this episode in which we actually go to an amusement park.
I mean, so there was, okay, actually, I'm going to let you guys talk for a minute because I seriously took like this whole week and was just watching super nerdy amusement park stuff. So, what did you all find out about amusement parks this week?
I learned about two from my hometown of Muskegon. One is Michigan's Adventure, which started as Deer Park, which was in 1956. It was a deer petting zoo. Go there, you pet deer and llama and chickens. And
Did anyone get kicked?
Hopefully.
yeah, I would think.
Or gored?
Wasn't one of their big attractions right when they opened like that car ride that was like on a track?
So, like in the 60s, it was bought out by someone for fairly cheap, and he started to turn it into Deer Park Funland, where they opened like a train ride and then like one that was like cars on tracks. And then they started to expand, and they built this ride called the Spider that Michael Jackson bought. That's at Neverland Ranch. But the thing that tied in with Jake was that there was one near my house in Norton Shores called Pleasure Island.
Coming to Fox this fall.
Pleasure Island's restaurant was called the Weenie Hut, and they served corn dogs. So there you go. They had this right. Well, now it's a subdivision, but it was.
Boo.
They had this ride called the Black Hole that was just I know, Black Hole.
What?
Black Hole Pleasure Island Weenie Hut. Stay with me. Okay. So the Black Hole was it was just this like long swirling like pipe that was just, you would get in it and it's pitch black and it would like go inside the earth and out of it and stuff, but you would never know because you couldn't see anything in there. So yeah, you would just get banged around and then plop out in a lake type thing. But that's the reason Michigan's Adventure has a water park. They opened a water park to compete with this little tiny fucking place in Norton Shores, Michigan. Well, his daughter did actually. She, in like 80 something, she took over the park and then eventually sold it off to, who is it? The people that run Six Flags, I believe?
No, Cedar Point.
Cedar Point? Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Snoopy's everywhere there now. And then they invested a bunch into it. I think there's a lot more rides now.
That's how you can tell that it's like a Cedar Fair one, is because it's Snoopy everywhere.
Yes.
Have you guys been to Michigan Adventure?
Yeah.
I think I've been to I might have been to Cedar Point and or Six Flags as well. I've definitely been to Michigan's Adventure.
I've been to Michigan's Adventure and Cedar Point a couple times.
I've been to Busch Gardens. That was pretty rad.
Where's that?
That's
Florida.
in Florida.
Well, there's another one in like Virginia or something too, I guess.
There are amusement parks all over. I mean, Six Flags has owned 26 different locations, and I think that there's only a few that aren't active anymore.
Several that are owned, like the company that owns Cedar Point, it's like Cedar Fair or whatever. Yeah. There's like, I can't remember exactly the number they have, but there's several.
Hey guys, real quick, I got to go get my phone charger, but carry on without me. I'll be right back.
Do you think that Jake is lying about going to amusement parks?
He's never been to an amusement park.
I don't think he's ever been to one.
It's a weird thing to lie about.
Yes, strange.
Nice.
Hey, dude, welcome back.
What were some of your favorite rides at Michigan's Adventure?
Okay. There's like the wooden roller coaster, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a Michigan's Adventure thing. Well, so specifically the one in Michigan's Adventure, though it looks like fucking Splinter City, is the only one I've ever been on that didn't scare the living fuck out of me.
Shivering Timbers or Splintering Lumber, whatever you want to call it.
I'm also a big fan of the wave pool.
Nice.
Wave pools
Yeah.
are cool. One time I almost died in a wave pool. And by almost died, I mean I just kind of grabbed on to Sean and had him drag me to shallower waters. because I can't
No,
swim.
this was a later in life thing.
Yeah, that was at Michigan's Adventure too.
Holy shit.
I still can't swim.
Yeah. Yeah, then that's probably not the best place to be.
Okay, I haven't been in a wave pool in a really long time, maybe even ever, because like I only went to Cedar Point and I never went to their water park, and then I think I went to one other amusement park in Myrtle Beach, but it's like wave pools are just giant overfilled piss buckets.
All bodies of water are giant, refuse ponds. So
We
Wow.
all poop
there's
and
chlorine
pee.
in wave pools, I think.
Too much. Too much.
I guess it was in like 2008 or something. There was like a weird chlorine incident at Michigan's Adventure.
The chlorine incident.
Another band name.
No one was really hurt or anything, but yeah, there was like just a fucking cloud of like chlorine gas that just like
Whoa.
there was too much chlorine in the pool, so like a bunch of people had to fucking evacuate, and like several people had to go to the hospital. That's a thing I learned.
Huh.
Isn't there one of those it's like kind of like a roller coaster, but it's a part of the water park where you like go down and then you splash into the water?
Yeah, like those log rides or whatever. There'll be
Yeah.
those. And yeah.
Those I feel like those are my favorite because I'm not that adventurous. So like a proper roller coaster is not really my speed.
Okay, so like I have this cousin, and when we were kids, he was like a roller coaster junkie. He wanted to design roller coasters when he grew up, but he didn't. He went to like all of the theme parks and amusement parks in Florida and made it like his life goal to come to Cedar Point because Cedar Point had the dragster. The dragster is a pretty thrilling ride. It is like about 90 to 95 seconds long, and it goes 100 or no, it goes like 90 something miles an hour. There's lots of 90s I'm about to throw at you. It goes 420, I think, feet up in the air, and it's like a 85-degree angle or some crazy shit where it looks like a 90-degree angle and it inverts at the bottom so that you don't like lose consciousness on your way down, but it shoots you up so fast that you like barely know what's happening, and it seems like you're gonna just go to space. My cousin wanted to be on it like first thing because in the morning it malfunctions like almost every day, and it'll get to like close to the top and then fall back down, and he loves that shit. So he wanted to be there like right away, and he and my brother-in-law were like covered in dead bugs.
Ugh.
Yeah, one time when I was at Cedar Point, and I had to wait in line for Millennium Force for like 2 hours, and we're finally like getting close to the end of the line. I see this like kid that got off just like covered, like he looked like what I imagine the front of like a semi would look like in the middle of summer driving through like a highway near a swamp, like just covered in dead bugs. And I was like, well, I'm not sitting up front.
The Millennium Force is a ride that's like kind of worth the wait though, because it's about like 4 minutes long, and it's like a thrill ride for sure because it drops like at a 70-degree angle from like 380 feet or something, and it's also going very fast. Like I think that the dragster goes 120 miles an hour and that the Millennium Force goes like 96. But it's a very fast ride, and it like shoots you all over the place. It doesn't do any loop-de-loops, but I'm okay with that because sometimes that's really jerky.
There's a couple of tunnels in there.
Yeah,
Those
but
are
like
fine.
tunnels are tunnels
Except
are
for
dope.
when you're in a water slide. I fucking hate tunnels and water slides. Because it's like, okay, am I facing up? Am I facing down? Where's the water? Oh shit, there's someone in here.
Oh Christ, it's me. You know where you could potentially get really fucking sick? A goddamn amusement park. Specifically, I would think a water park.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's
You
like
got pee
specifically
and the poo and the water in your
Yeah.
mouth.
yeah, the wave pools. We say that the chlorine
I
might
know.
kill it, but it's like really you can
It's
get
a
really
wave
sick.
of shit.
Let's get into it. Let's just dive into it then.
Let's dive headfirst into these bacteria pools.
Well, I'm talking about the incidents, baby. I'm talking about the things that took people down and out. The things that sucked. Like, okay, There were like a number of really crazy incidents at the Six Flags parks, I found out. I mean, a lot of them were like kind of related to lap bar incidents, which is always really scary. And I don't think lap bars are really around many amusement parks anymore, except for like really old rides. Now they have like the harnesses. There were lots of people that like didn't really fit in the weight category. And then the lap bars didn't like do the click, click, click. They just did like the click. And then everyone's like, you're good to go. And then,
It's like, oh, no, I'm not. No, I'm not.
yeah. I mean, at Cedar Point, the Raptor has had its own share of incidents that have been like very scary. Somebody died like 6 years ago because of a hat. Well, actually, it was a cell phone. But like, there have been other things where people got really hurt because their hat flew off and they wanted to go into the restricted area to grab it. So a few years ago, a guy thought that his cell phone fell in like one of the restricted areas. So he snuck back there, and like the Raptor at Cedar Point, it's like an inverted roller coaster. So your feet dangle off. And there's this little like orange bar underneath like where your feet would be. And it like hit him in the back of the head and he died. But like, yeah, it gets really close to the ground. I think it's like only
Didn't
6 feet or
other
something.
people get their heads kicked off at places or something?
I think that was at I think that was the like
The
Ride of Steel
person
or
that
something.
messed up her foot or something.
Yeah,
And
dude,
the other
that
guy
one
got
was really fucked
decapitated,
up. I
so-
can't remember when that one was, but there was like an incident at a Six Flags where it was like another inverted roller coaster like the Raptor, and I think it was the Man of Steel ride, and like the Superman themed one. And this girl like kicked a guy's head off, and then she had to go to the hospital because it like really fucked up her leg. That was like a thing where the guy was in the restricted area to get something that had fallen out of his pockets or like his hat or something. That's why it's restricted, y'all. It's restricted because you shouldn't be there.
You think they'd make bigger fences? You'd think they'd make it harder to get into, is what I'm saying.
Tight pants with deeper pockets.
I mean, incidents have existed as long as there have been amusement parks because, like, when there's something to play on plus people, there are problems.
Well, yeah, but because of that, a sign is not enough. There should be more than a sign, I would think.
Yeah, it should be an electric fence.
An armed guard.
Yeah,
Yeah, an
like
armed guard
those
would be
An
fun.
armed teenager.
like those guards at the Royal Palace in England or
Something to
whatever.
prove. Yeah.
They just stand there.
I asked people on Facebook to share their experiences about amusement parks and stuff. And like, I didn't get like a crazy response because I think that's like a really personal question.
Like, when did you lose your virginity? Tell me about your relationship with your mother. What's your favorite theme park experience?
Did you ever do it on a roller coaster?
That would
So
be
I would
really
recommend
hard.
that. Yeah,
That seems like a decapitation incident.
Also feels like you need to own the roller coaster. There's too many people involved that I don't think you can get away with that too easily.
Do you think any of the employees or owners or anything have ever had sex on a functioning roller coaster?
yeah,
though?
most likely. I don't think it would be probably like the Ferris wheel or something. Nothing like impressive, but
Okay, there was this incident at a Six Flags because they have a skyline ride, where it's like a gondola type of thing. And there was this newlywed couple that was rocking the gondola too hard. It fell, and the wife was really injured, but the husband died.
See, those things move too slow. Like, I like roller coasters because I know if the roller coaster fucks up, I'm going to go quickly.
all transportation between 2 points should be roller coaster.
Oh, fuck yes. That would be awesome.
No more ski lifts, just roller coaster.
Yeah, just take a roller
Yeah.
coaster up this hill.
Okay, Reggie, I know that you have like kind of had an interest in the more macabre things, and like I wonder what you know about amusement parks, because like there's like funny shit about them too. I mean, but there's like also the incidents.
Canada's Wonderland, which is also a Cedar Fair owned, like the the rear car of it like kind of like it locked up or something and like flew off the track, and it was like it was an indoor roller coaster. There was also a concert going on at the same place, so there was just like a shitload of people that witnessed it, and like, yeah, the people in that back car didn't go so well for them.
Okay, on May 11th, 1984, 8 teenagers were trapped in the haunted castle attraction and died when it was destroyed by fire. Of course, the park was sued. The argument was that the park had been warned to take better safety precautions and were repeatedly told to install sprinklers in that attraction. But the park argued that one of the teens had been using a lighter to get a better look around and ignited the flammable, like, shit that they were using as, like, bumper control for people because it was, like, a really dark ride.
Well, back to Action Park, there was the one where the one kid got electrocuted.
Oh yeah.
In like the kayak adventure, part of the real tame fucking part, because they used fans to kind of make the water simulate rapids, and the kid had like just got electrocuted because the fucking wiring was bad.
Yeah, well, like, that's one of those things that circles back to how fucked up that owner could be sometimes, because he wanted everything to be super authentic. So, like, when they did, like, the Colorado River ride type of thing, like that river simulator, it was like a gentle ride at first, but he was like, no, I want some white rapids going on. And then it was like really dangerous. I mean, I think that it was that one that David was talking about, the bolt being exposed and it like catching the kid on his way down.
Yeah.
You know what one actually did look interesting to me, though, was the one where it just fucking shoots you out the side of a mountain.
Yeah, that looked cool.
I was like, I would do that. Or the one where you jump off the cliff into the water.
Yeah, the 20-foot cliff you just jump off.
Yeah.
Just don't
Those are the
swim
two
below
that-
there.
Those are the two that seemed a little tame. Like I'd be able to handle it.
Well, it was like the one where you jumped off the side of the cliff was also the recreational pool where people could hang out. And that's why there were so many accidents
Yeah.
there.
And I remember the one that was great about the one that shot you out of the side of the pool was that it shot you up like 10 or 20 feet up, and you were coming out of a pitch black environment and you landed in ice cold water. So it's just all of the shock
yeah,
and
'cause
disorient at once.
It was like a spring-fed lake. So it was like 40-something degrees all the time, and there were like trout in it.
You're not, and the thing is, you're not expecting to land in a wave pool or come out and be in the middle of the air.
So like the idea of using like the natural water source that's there isn't like foreign either, because when Disney World opened, one of the first main attractions were these motorboat rides, and like nobody died, don't worry about it. But like at first it was like actual motorized boats that little kids could ride around, and they kept trying to get them to go as fast as they possibly could. So the motors kept overheating and they would have to like do routine maintenance. So they were like, well, maybe we can fix it by just covering the motors, because like there was like a lot of smoke that happened. And so it like helped with the smoke, but the motors like overheated even worse. And then eventually it was just like boats on a track.
The ones where they would have the motors, the lakes would always turn into this like uninhabitable cesspit of flammable materials because all the oil and gas would just leak into the lake all the time.
So there was this era in like from like the turn of the centuries through like the 90s. Like there are still so many amusement parks around, but there was like this like heyday, I would say in like the 40s through the 60s, where there were like amusement parks everywhere. There were like a bunch of them along the west coast of Michigan and out around Detroit, and there were a ton like along the coastlines. They were everywhere because it was like a thing for families to do together. And a lot of them have closed. Have you stumbled upon any that like look cool or have cool histories that are now abandoned? Okay, I do. I found this one, and it's called Ghost Town in the Sky, and it's in North Carolina, and it's like up in the Smoky Mountains.
Yeah, I was watching something about that last night.
Dude, isn't that place like so crazy? That roller coaster looks trippy as hell because it's like up in the Smokies. So the roller coaster went into the fog and like you didn't know where you were going, but it like looped and stuff. And now it actually is a ghost town in the sky.
Well, there's like Adventure Island. It's like part of Disneyland that closed down because there was like someone died from like a brain eating amoeba or something.
I think that like we could talk about amusement parks a lot more in future episodes if people want us to talk about something specific because we are pretty interested in like these types of things and these amusements and stuff. But instead of giving unsolicited advice, this week I want us all to share an experience on a ride at an amusement park.
So first roller coaster I ever went on was Shivering Timbers at Michigan's Adventure. I made it to getting on the ride and then going up the hill, and then we dropped, and then I fainted. And then I remained unconscious until we were about at the end loop before you get to the end. So I didn't remember a damn thing. But my mom who was sitting behind me thought it was like kind of noticed it because I was like real stiff, and then all of a sudden it was just like, nope. But then I went on it like 3 more times because
I will goddamn remember it.
well, like, yeah, I kind of felt like I had to go on it at least a second time because like the first time I kind of just like gypped myself out of the whole experience. So, the second time it was terrifying, but fun. So then I wanted to go on it again, like immediately after that.
Beautiful. That's a beautiful experience to share. Thank you so much, Reggie.
Hail Satan.
It's so nice when people just add a little personal touch to their amusement park histories. David, will you please share?
I don't really have any terribly interesting ones. They're just everything went fairly according to plan. I have no idea. I think I had been to Michigan's Adventure when I was really young, but I don't remember it. I remember being down in Florida at Busch Gardens and riding this inverted roller coaster in like a rainstorm, which I don't believe we were supposed to do, but they were like, we'll let one more go. So that was fun. Those are the only memories I have.
Thank you, David.
Yep.
Thank you so much. I could tell
You're
that
asking the questions.
Jake, I would love to hear your stories of amusement parks.
Okay. One that it's the most recent time I've been to an amusement park, and it was probably 7 or 8 years ago. At Michigan's Adventure, there's this like water ride where you and a couple other people get in a small raft and you go down this big ass slide, and then there's a dome where like you go down the slide and then you kind of go up the side of this thing, and it's a big circle, and you kind of go in a circle and then come back down. It looks kind of tame and safe, but fun. So I was like, yeah, I'll do that. So myself, Lauren, and our buddy Jared, who is much bigger than me and Lauren. So we watched our other friends go on this, and we're like, all right, it's fine. It's not. They didn't go up very high when they got to the bottom to the cul-de-sac round thing. The 3 of us got in there, and immediately we went down, and I was just backwards. So I didn't see anything as it was coming at us, but I could watch Jared and Lauren's faces, and they looked fucking horrified. So I'm just watching them looking horrified right past me. And then eventually we get down to the bottom and we go up, and it just feels like we never stopped going up. We went very high. And then we came back down and it was fine. But because I rode the whole fucking thing backwards watching my friends' faces, it was horrifying. That's it.
That's amazing. That's a really good story. I think I saw a YouTube video about that water ride or something quite like it, and that is an epic water slide. It looks really scary.
Yeah, it was cool. It was definitely cool. But in the moment, I did not appreciate it.
Y'all know that one that looks like a big toilet? Like you're on like a little raft thing, and then it shoots you out, and then there's like this like funnel or some shit.
That's kind of similar to what it was.
Okay.
I didn't want to say toilet, but it seemed like it just kind of spits you into a toilet bowl kind of area.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the
what
one.
it was.
Okay, we're all good. I was like 8 and I went to Cedar Point with my aunt and uncle and cousin and sister. The first ride that I went on was the Power Tower, which is just you sit and it either shoots you up really fast or it like drops you really fast. We went on the one that drops you. The Power Tower is 240 feet tall. It goes up and like drops you from like a hydraulic magnetic system at a random thing. So you don't know when it's going to happen. And we got up to the top and it was like you could see all of Sandusky. And I looked at my uncle and I was like, okay, I want to get off now. And he's like, too late, kid. And then it just dropped and it was like, Wah! And I like hit my face on like the harness and stuff. And then I kind of decided I hated that. I didn't experience the bigger rides until I was like 14 or 15 because I did not and still don't like roller coasters.
Same.
Roller coasters are dope.
Yeah, I love roller coasters.
I still think that we should go to an amusement park as a group someday because I think it would be really fun.
Let's go to Cedar Point.
Yeah, we can do Cedar Point. Or we can do...
we could go fucking anywhere. We have the ability to tour where we want to go and then take a day off and go to... We could go to Disneyland if we wanted to.
Yeah, I don't think we could get booked at Disneyland, but maybe Busch Gardens, and maybe we could get booked at Holiday World. I'm going to start there. So I'm going to leave you all with this. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining us in this crazy adventurous episode all about amusement parks. Maybe you learned something. Maybe you didn't. If you want to hear more from us about amusement parks, leave a comment and let us know what you want us to talk about. And we can talk more in depth about it, I guess. Anyway, here's what I'm going to say just because I can't leave you without any unsolicited advice. Be rad, stay cool, and always do the right thing. Life's a fucking roller coaster. Get it, bitch.
Don't eat the gum under the table.
All right.
Bye.
Smash that subscribe.
Smash it.
And ring that bell.
I'm mostly just hoping or wondering how you get a gig at a fucking amusement park and what we can do to put that together.
Yeah, do you need like an agent that specifically books amusement parks? Or
I think you just hit them up.